Hello and welcome to Off the Shelf. My name's Heather, and if you've seen me on any of these videos before, you will know that I've been clearing out some of my old paperwork and I've been making piles of scrap paper. And the other day I came across this piece of scrap paper which was on my shelf, and it reminded me of some conversations that I'd had with people about what sort of people we are. Because some of us are people who are very sporty and we love playing games. Even though we can't be part of a team at the moment, we can still kick a ball around in the garden if we're fortunate. Other people are people who are enjoying at the moment lots of cleaning, and our houses are probably spick and span because we've had more time to be in them and to clean them. Other characteristics are people who love shopping, and I know we're all having to do lots of shopping to keep food for ourselves, but also sharing that with other people, which is a great thing to be doing. Lots of people are reading, and that's part of our characteristics of those of us who love to read and have time to read is a great opportunity. Lots and lots of people are enjoying music at the moment and are very musical, writing or creating music themselves, or just listening to it, or perhaps just enjoying being on your computer. But these are things that are all on the outside of our characters. They're how people know us, by the things that we love to do. But the Bible often talks about the things that are on the inside of a person's life. And it talks about those things that are right inside that help to make the character that we are. And we sometimes need some help with that, because our characters on the inside aren't always as kind and as generous as perhaps they can be. And so there's a verse in the Bible from a book called Galatians, chapter 5 and verse 22. And it talks about the fruit of the Spirit and how God wants to fill our lives with his fruit. And it's as if our lives are a little bit like a box. And this box on the outside is what we're like that everybody sees, but on the inside of the box is a more hidden part, and the part that God really wants to help us with. And that verse talks about the fruit of the Spirit. And God wants to take his fruit, his kindness, and he wants to fill the box of our lives with his fruit. So let's look at what some of that fruit is. So the fruit of the Spirit, it says, is love. And we all need love. We all need to think we belong, know that we belong. And that's something that really helps us grow in our characters if we know that we're loved and we're able to give love. And that goes into our box. Joy. In these days where things are a bit sad and worrying, it's lovely if we can share joy and spread joy. And one of the things that God wants to do for us is to help us to have his joy. And that goes inside the box of our lives. Peace. It's very worrying for lots of people, for us all, and it's easy to be anxious, and it's not very easy to be peaceful. But God wants to give us his peace. The fruit of his Spirit is peace, and that can go into our box as well. Patience. It's very hard at times to keep patient, isn't it? Perhaps if you're playing lots of games with your brothers and sisters, getting a bit frustrated, it's not always easy to be patient. But God wants us to grow in patience, because that's how he is. He's patient with us. He wants us to be patient with other people, and that's part of his work in our lives. Kindness. We're seeing so much evidence of kindness, aren't we, today, and hearing about it, which is wonderful and really encouraging and something from God. So kindness is part of the fruit of God's Spirit. Goodness. Now, that doesn't mean being a goody-goody. That means really showing genuine, deep goodness, which is a lovely thing to have, and it reflects God's character, and he wants us to grow that in our lives as well. Faithfulness. When life is hard and we have to keep going, God wants to help and encourage us to keep faithful in our love for him and faithful in our concern for other people. Humility, now this isn't an easy one, but humility is something that is a reflection of God's character. If you remember, Jesus came and was humbled while he was on earth, and he was God on earth, and he had humbled himself, and he became like us. And God wants us to grow in humility. And then the final one, self-control. And self-control again is a great characteristic that God wants us to have in the heart of our lives, so that we're able to be controlled when life is difficult and when life is challenging. And that goes into the box of our lives as well. So here in our box of our lives are the things that God wants us to grow right in the heart of ourselves. So you might like to make a box like this. I'm sure you could find something online. Just do a search for an origami box and you can make a little box like that. And then if you look up the verse, Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 and 23, you could look at some of these wonderful characteristics that God wants to help us grow in the middle of our lives. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.